It's the opposite of detailed plans. I've written 3 books, and I've never known at all what the story was going to be at the time when I started writing. So I just begin writing, and I of course end up throwing an awful lot of that away, but I think it's the only way I know how to do it. So the plot and the story gradually comes together as I'm working over a period of years. At this point, I try to write a little bit every day. I have a part-time job, and so I try to write in the mornings and then go into work in the afternoons, or vice versa. For Last Night in Montreal, it took quite a while to write, partly because at the time when I began, I wasn't thinking of myself as a writer. My first career was in contemporary dance. So for a long time, I thought of myself as a dancer who just wrote as a hobby. And it wasn't until perhaps a year or even 2 into the writing of the book when I began to think of myself more seriously as a writer and to devote time to it every single day. So at this point, I write every day, or I try to. But in the beginning of writing this book, I wasn't quite so disciplined. What I've always tried to do is write literary fiction that has the strongest possible narrative drive. I like work that's both literary and very plot-driven, so I was trying to do both. And you know, it's interesting. It took some time to sell Last Night in Montreal in the United States. It was a somewhat difficult market for debut novels at the time. And I remember one of the very early rejection letters coming back, and an editor saying, "We just don't know how to market something that's more than one genre." And I remember being completely baffled. I was thinking, what genres is she talking about? Literary fiction plus what? And then I realized, oh, she's talking about the detective, of course. So it almost came as a surprise when people began to refer to my work as crime fiction.